Welcome, ladies and gentlemen.
Enjoy the Goldilocks Productions presentation of the In the Psychic Flow Show with Carolan Carey.
Good evening, everyone. Salutations from Sarasota, Florida. We are watching a lovely sunset after a briefly stormy afternoon, and we might get some more storms here during the show, so bear with us. We have a great show for you this evening. I wanted to talk to you about the special guest that we have, Cathryn McIntyre. She's a delight. We have not met in person, but I have read all about her, and she has some very interesting things to discuss. She's multifaceted and multi-talented to the likes that you don't usually see. Cathryn McIntyre is an indie author, an independent author and researcher who has studied the literary history of Concord, Massachusetts for over 25 years, both in university settings and independently. She possesses a BA in English from Michigan State University and has done graduate work at both Harvard University Extension and Lesley University in Cambridge, Massachusetts. What also is remarkable about Cathryn is she is a natural psychic, an astrologer, an occasional ghost investigator, and an avid genealogist with ancestral ties to the Mayflower and to both writers Margaret Fuller and Henry David Thoreau. Cathryn McIntyre is the author of The Thoreau Whisperer, Channeling the Spirit of Henry David Thoreau, and that was published in 2018, An Honor in Concord, Seeking Spirit in Literary Concord, and that was published 2008. That contains a fictional story in which the writers of Concord's past are living new lives in Concord in present day. She has some other projects going on, and she's here to tell us all about everything that she does. Cathryn, welcome to In the Psychic Flow.
Thank you so much, Carolan. That was quite a full introduction. Thank you so much.
Will we have anything to talk about after that? I hope so.
I don't know.
I'm delighted to have you on the show and to make your acquaintance. Thoreau was. I still have that book, the Thoreau Whisperer, and I'm delighted by that. And I read it in high school, I think it was. So
no, my book is called my book is The Thoreau Whisperer that just came out. Are you talking about Walden?
About Thoreau. Yes, I had read some stuff on him in high school, so delighted. What can you tell us about your new book?
Well, it came out of my experience of connecting to the spirit of Thoreau.
Whoops, sorry, I'm having a problem with it's my computer. So hold on one second, Tiffany. 1 second. There we go. Okay, we did it. Sorry. I was having some kind of problem, and I did that. Thank you, Tiffany. Go ahead. I'm sorry. Go ahead, Cathryn.
Okay. That's all right. I just was to describe how it came about. I grew up in Michigan, but I was always drawn to Concord and Massachusetts in general, and it took me quite a while to figure out why. But I knew I had to move out here. But I've come to believe it was for this connection with Thoreau. And when I came out here, kind of took many years to get me to the point. But I joined the Thoreau Society at a certain point, and in that situation in the Thoreau Society, I met a man who was quite a prominent Thoreau scholar, and he was famous for having edited and published Thoreau's unfinished works. He passed away in January of 2006, and 11 days later, I saw him in my dining room.
Wow.
So this whole book begins with my after-death communication with my friend and mentor, Brad Dean was his name. And it was at a time when it was a one-year anniversary of my mother's death, and I was kind of setting out a candle for her. I was thinking I was put a picture in a candle and just commemorate. And while I was doing that, I would try to connect with her because I've had this psychic ability my whole life, and I thought, well, I'll try to connect and see if I get anything. And in that process of connecting is when I found myself connecting to Brad, and I didn't even know he had passed. I hadn't heard. So he was living in Indiana at that time. So that was the beginning of the connection. And then a few days later, I went to see a psychic to, kind of help me to connect with him. And I was told, not only will he continue to work with me from spirit, but Thoreau will as well. And she said, get ready because it's going to start in the fall. And it did. So,
wow, beautiful.
Yeah.
And so that's when you started to compile this work for the book?
Yeah, that's when it was funny because when I was having that reading, she was like, you're going to have this experience and it's going to be like you'll wake up and you'll just have these words in your head. You're going to have to write them down, and they're going to drop pages in front of you in dreams. And she said, I can see the words just flying across the computer screen. And it was really interesting because this was the first reading I'd had with this woman who's I refer to in the book as Reverend Barbara. And she she drew a computer screen, and she was like, this is how it's going to happen. And it took until into the fall, things were happening in the meantime, but I was sitting at the computer one day, and I decided what I would do is start to record some of the notes I had made when I woke up, some of the little things I had picked up. I thought, well, I'll sit down and start to type those up. And what that prompted me into was sort of a fictional piece, which it began, it was like I was writing this little fictional thing about Thoreau's birth in Concord, and suddenly I transferred out of that third-person perspective, and I switched into first-person, and I typed out the words, I am born David Henry Thoreau in this American town, in this place called Concord. And that was the start. And I sat there and I went, this can't be him. I mean, this really can't be him, can it? And it was, it was a Sunday, and I sat there and I just typed what I got, and it became, it led to the book.
Wow.
It went on.
That's amazing.
Went on for the next 2.5 years, off and on, this ongoing connection. I use the word channel to refer to it now and then, but it was like automatic writing. It was like connecting. And a lot of times it was conversation. It was just like I would just say things in the room. And it's not like I would hear him speak, not like I was hearing words like I'd hear your words, but it was picking up telepathically, getting the answers. Mm-hmm. And then I would just speak back to them, and then I'd get the telepathic answers. So it became quite a fun thing for me at different times. And I tried to write about the whole experience in the book because I thought, no one's going to believe this is him if I just say, look, it's him. This is what he said, just here it is. No one's going to believe it. And maybe they don't believe it now, but at least if I tell the story of how it happened and put it in that context and say, hey, the truth is I didn't believe it, and that was the truth. And I didn't throughout. It was a real back and forth for me because I think like a lot of people who have a psychic gift, when they're a kid and they're in a family that doesn't really believe in such things or at least readily accept it, you get a lot of you learn how to doubt yourself. And so I had a lot of doubt, and I had to work through all of that. So the book is a memoir. Again, it's sort of like a sequel to Honor in Concord in a sense. It's me in Concord, kind of working through my love of the literary history there and also my psychic abilities, coming to terms with them, and then seeing how in this book it really came together in such an extraordinary way as I found myself connecting to the spirit of Thoreau. So,
what did you, I'm sure this is quite a learning experience, and I think it's normal to be skeptical, and I think it's a good thing to balance out your work. What did you learn about him that touched you the most? He must have had a terrific impression on you to go through with this.
He did. As I was going through the process, and I realized that in all the years I had been drawn to the writers in Concord, which is Thoreau, Emerson, Hawthorne, Alcott, all those people. And there's sort of a story of Concord's literary history that is an entity in itself. It's separate from the work that they did. Is something separate than the actual story about their lives there. And so I was more interested in their lives and reading biographies and that than I was really focused on what it was they were writing. And at the same time, I was off in the New Age circles, going to meditation classes, doing past life regressions, trying to find that spiritual truth. So on one path I'm doing that, on the other path I'm following my literary interests and my instincts, and it's taking me to literary Concord. But little did I know at that point that Thoreau was talking about, the transcendentalists were talking about that very spiritual truth that the New Agers were trying to find too. It was all the same thing, so the paths kind of converged. So I think what surprised me is when I really started to look at what he had written about in his lifetime, how right on it was, and how profound and truthful it was in terms of him really understanding what I think is really the fundamental truths in that, which has to do with the divine wisdom within us and all of that. And Thoreau was talking about those things. And
But
I don't think I fully
touched me
realized
about him
that.
when I read some of his essays was he's so simple, puts it forth so simply, but the language is so beautiful. How he describes nature and his connection to it, and really a fabulous read. And it's something that's on the bucket list to reread. I think I read it for high school or something, but I still have it. And now I really have to have it on the bucket list because you've intrigued me with everything.
That's what I say to people too. Is if my book gets people to go back to him.
Are they very interested now?
Oh, sure. Well, I live in the Concord area, so everybody here worships Thoreau.
Okay.
So I'm kind of distorted. So it seems to me that everybody I know is interested in him. I don't know if everybody in regular life thinks about him too much. And, I'm on Twitter a lot, and I tweet his quotes from his lifetime. And mostly I do some of the stuff from the channel material as well. But I think, if I can just show people the wisdom in his words and get them intrigued enough to want to go read his books, so that's a good thing to have done today.
Yeah, wonderful. That is great. I'm going to look you up on Twitter and make sure that I get those messages because I'm sure I would enjoy them. The other, let me point out your website while I have everyone's attention. It is CMC at theconcordwriter.com.
Yeah, that's my
Cathryn McIntyre. Is that your email? Oh, okay.
Yeah,
What's the
website? Is theconcordwriter.com.
Theconcordwriter.com. Sorry about that.
Yeah.
And on here you have all about you, the Thoreau Whisperer, the book reviews, which are really great on your latest book, Honor in Concord, Events, Concord Images, Essay Politics, Essay Spirit, Ghostly Happenings, Astrology, and more. So you've got everything going on here. It's really great.
There's a lot of stuff up there.
Yeah. How did your genealogy, were you raised this way? Was this an interest from your family, or did that just happen?
No, it sort of happened, and it was funny because I kind of got really into it at the time I was doing the channeling. So I would have these episodes where it was like I had only a certain amount of time in the day before I had to rush off to work, and they want me to, sit there and channel, and I'm like, no, I want to do, I want to do my genealogy. I want to get on ancestry.com, and they're like over my shoulder, kid, come on, we want to talk to you. And it was funny because one day I got this little thing from Henry. He said, I'm your cousin too. And I thought, come on, no way. That can't be true. And so I started, again, I'm like, I'm making this up. There's no way he said that. That can't be true. And then, of course, it started me on this huge adventure in ancestry research, trying to find that connection, which I ultimately did. And I write about this a little bit in the book because it involved all kinds of, like, going down to Connecticut and getting into, the town hall and looking at old records. And I found where the path should have led, but, you get back there and there are a lot of missing records and people just didn't keep records properly. And so I wasn't able to really prove it out, but, I believe it's there. So, anyhow, that was kind of a great adventure. So
you have signposts along the way that tell you that is accurate, and you just have to find how exciting. That is very exciting.
Yeah, it was really exciting. that's when I found the connection to the Mayflower and everything else, and it
wow.
was really fun. A lot of fun
I
stuff.
find it, I'm a psychic medium. I do not deal that much in the paranormal because, well, first of all, I'm a sissy. I'm kind of afraid of them. I talk to people's departed loved ones. That's where I stay, and I work with grieving families. So that's my little niche. Although I have worked some of the paranormal, I've done some ghost tours and led some ghost tours and that kind of thing. How do you feel about ghost investigations? How do you feel about it? I know you said you're an occasional ghost investigator.
I call myself an occasional ghost investigator. And that's sort of like the accidental ghost investigator. Because I find myself in places where I just pick up information and then I'm able to, that's where I mean. Then the one turned into quite a big deal and was written about in Ghosts of the Boothbay region. And that was just a hotel that I stayed at, or inn, I should say, that I stayed at in Boothbay Harbor, and turned out it had quite an interesting ghostly history, and I was able to tune into that and get some information and then validate it later. And then I blogged about it on my website, and another author that writes books on that region called me up and said, "Can I write about your story in the book?" And I'm like, okay. So he ended up doing that, which was pretty cool. So that's the kind of thing I just, it's like I'm staying at the inn, so I start to think about it and investigate. I do those, but as far as like going out to deliberately spend a lot of time ghost busting, not so much.
How about places belonging to Thoreau or places he visited?
Yeah, I mean, I'm interested in that, and I'm obviously anywhere I go, I'm tuning in, and I'm seeing what's there and what isn't. But as far as I kind of agree with you. Like, I don't like to go too far into, let's just say, dark. What can be potentially dark, and I don't like to spend a lot of time on that. But also another part of it is I don't like, the ghost investigator shows. Okay, they're kind of fun to watch, but sometimes those guys are so disrespectful. And I just want to say, this is a person. This is a soul, a spirit. Here, this was a person. You have to be, more respectful of that, whatever condition they're presently in, or whatever help they might need.
Yes, it would be like abusing a zoo animal or something. It's just they're there. They don't want to be there most of the time, and it's not fair. They need to be released, or and that's a special work. And I give people a lot of credit. I have a couple of friends that do that.
I've tried to do that. I feel like I've succeeded a couple times, but then I've encountered others that are like, okay, wait, I'm walking out of this one because there's no way. There's no budging that person, and I'm like, that's not going to be my call. But
how do you feel about astrology? Is that something that you feel natural about, or did you study that?
I studied it for years. It was one of the first things when I first moved out here from Michigan that I just started going to the Unicorn Bookstore, which was in Lexington initially, and then Arlington, which is, if anyone knows, the Boston area. It's gone now, but it was just this at that time, which is the 80s and early 90s, was like this epic center of, for New Age activity in the area. It was a wonderful place, and that's when I first got inspired to look at astrology, because when my chart was first drawn, and I looked at it and I heard the interpretation, it was like the first time I was acknowledged as who I was. It was like it was saying to me, "You're a psychic. This is why. This is this." And everything proved out, and it was quite extraordinary. So I continued to study it after that, and then I found that I could, if for anyone who knows astrology, part of what you look at is the current transiting planets and how they affect you. So, let's say Venus is transiting today, and it moved into whatever. I think it moved into Virgo. I haven't looked, but let's say that, and then you look at where that is in your chart. I got to the point where I could psychically sense the movement, so I wouldn't watch them every day, but then I'd go, "Oh, I just felt that," and then I'd run over to my ephemeris and check, and sure enough, like Venus had moved that day, or whatever had happened, and I could sense it myself. So astrology came very natural to me, and it's something that I rely on in some sense. Not so much as I used to, but I'm a huge believer and consider myself an astrologer.
Well, that's cool. That is very cool. You're multifaceted, Marley. Stop it. Sorry, I have a dog who's decided to cough now. Everybody was asleep before I started my show tonight, and everybody woke up. You can buy the Thoreau Whisperer on the ConcordWriter.com from Cathryn. You can get it on Amazon, Barnes & Noble, and Book Baby. And you can also get Honor in Concord as well. You know, you have a lot of very good book reviews on here, very impressive. Did you want to read part of your new book to us, or tell us about it?
Well, that's the new book is The Thoreau Whisperer. That
Did you want to read part of that?
About. Oh, I could read something of it if you want. Let's see.
Sure.
Let's see what I got here. I like, Thoreau's famous for talking about solitude. And so there's one section I like of the book a lot, which I think it's kind of beautiful. He says, there were times when the solitude I craved at Walden was available to me and I basked in it. I would, on sunny days, position myself there in my doorway and allow myself to sink as deeply as I could into the surrounding atmosphere, into the waves of light and energy that flowed to me, and drift as far as I could out into that universe, and let myself sense myself as that free and noble creature that I knew existed within me. Those were the times that I fully understood that I was more than this body that I had come to occupy. This I understood without question, for I could lift my hand and view it and know that it was not my hand, and these were not my feet, and this was but a vehicle with which I drove. I learned to settle myself, my mind, and my breath into a relaxed posture and enjoyed those moments of sheer reverie in the universe. Traveling that way was cheaper, in fact, than travel any other way, and the rewards were great. Each time I ventured out, I felt this greater spirit within me, each time knowing more and more confidently that there was something beyond, something more to this life than the material acquisitions. So
beautiful. One of your reviews here from Karen Matthews says, all who ever were, still are, and always will be, a nice balance of spiritual discovery, candid insight, and literary analysis. Amazing. Karen Matthews, Goodreads, Barnes & Noble book reviews. Fabulous. Yeah. I have a picture of him. You have a picture of Thoreau on your website. And I love the messed up hair on the top. I always remember him as having this curl on the top.
Yeah.
And it kind of cracks me up. But I get a feeling of him, correct me if I'm wrong, I get this like vagabond kind of feeling with him. Like he could easily pass for a vagabond. I mean, he would be, I know he was somewhat of a gentleman, I would assume by birth, but he just seemed to immerse himself in the dust, in the wind, in the, kind of feeling.
He's a nature boy, yeah.
Yeah. So would that be accurate, calling him a vagabond?
I think so. I don't know about a vagabond, but definitely just doing his own thing and not caring about the customs or the styles or the whatevers,
He could. I feel like I may have seen a picture of him, or the picture that I get is he has a cravat, the neck thing on, and a vest, but I feel like he's got a pole over his shoulder with a little, like a handkerchief or something, with some balloon, maybe some lunch or something. And that's just the way I've always pictured him. So I think you're very fortunate to be related to him and to write about him and to channel this is absolutely fabulous.
Yeah.
Absolutely wonderful. What else is coming up for you? I know you're working on an essay.
I'm working on a fictional piece now, which will be like the third book in the sort of the telling more. How shall I put this? I've written 2 memoirs now about my kind of unusual experiences in that. Now I'm taking some of what's left and putting it into a fictional story, and probably setting it somewhere other than Concord, and that should be fun to be writing fiction again. So it's a little bit different for me.
Well, that'll be nice. Do you consider yourself? I'm kind of just asking questions, bouncing from one thing to another. I apologize about that, but when something hits me. Or do you consider yourself a spiritualist?
I do.
I
just kind of mean by that, like somebody who really does believe in the existence of spirit and the perpetual existence. So believes fully in life after death and believes in that we live on in very substantial ways.
Mm-hmm.
So.
And do you think spirits connect with someone like yourself to teach us again? Primarily to teach us, but to maybe at a time when we need something like that? Like, is there timing involved, or the person involved?
I hope so. I think that was part of the idea, that some of these ideas need to be looked at again, and really a lot of people today aren't going to have what it takes to sit down and read a book like Walden. I mean, truthfully, when I started this, I hadn't even fully read Walden.
Right.
I had to, that's what I was saying before. Like, I had spent a lot of time reading about him, but I hadn't really read his work. And so I'm in the channeling, and I'm writing these things down, and then later I'm going over to his work, and I'm like, oh my God, he really was talking about that. So it was all tying together. So I was learning as I went. So,
and I think he picked you because you're cousins.
Well, yeah, I think that's part of it. There definitely was a connection there, and that's the thing. It's like partly because of the connection with Brad, and then I had the connection with Brad, and then Brad had this tremendous connection with Thoreau, and then. But before I even met Brad, there were signs and things going on in my life that were leading me to Thoreau and leading me to Concord. So it's sort of like as the way I talk about it in the book, and whether or not this is true, this was just my impression of it, was that this had all been somehow planned long before we even came into this life, and that it was going to happen in this way in terms of Brad and I coming together, and then the connection to Thoreau coming in and being able to do this. So I feel very, special in that regard, and that, very blessed to have had the experience and really to have known Brad and lived at that time.
Wow, that's fascinating. So. How do you feel? I did email you. How do you feel about giving some astrology advice tonight to people who are calling in?
I'm not sure I'm prepared for that. Not so much the psychic stuff. I don't really do readings that way. I do astrology readings now and then, but I really need to have their chart in front of me and have a lot of information to refer to before I can, I could really do that. I'm not really prepared for that.
Okay, that's no problem. We're going to take a couple of callers, and if you feel something that you want to share, unless there's something else that you would like to promote, I really want to promote whatever is coming up next for you.
Well, then, I'm just really all about the book right now, and getting more people to take a look at it, because, one of the things as I wrote the book and as the channeling was happening, it was like I had the experience, and then I had to decide how to put this together, and I tried to do it in a way that isn't overwhelming, so it's not so dense, and that you can just sort of sample through it, and the people who are reading it are just telling me they just loved it, and when I was doing it, my goal was to just make it beautiful. I just kept saying, we just want to have this be just a beautiful book. And I feel like it is. So I guess I want to tell people I think this is a very pleasant, enjoyable way to sort of sample at Thoreau while being kind of amused by the whole thing as it was taking place, because we really were having some fun as it was going on. So anyhow, here's my
And the book is available at Amazon, Barnes & Noble, and the website for Cathryn McIntyre, which is theconcordwriter.com. Lovely book. I enjoyed what you read from it very much, so that's on my bucket list, no problem at all. And I'm very pleased I would like to read Honor in Concord as well. Do you have to be a native of Concord to appreciate it, or can you live?
Not at all. Not at all. It's my story as a writer there who has a psychic ability. Just sort of, I sit down one day to record the images from the past that I keep picking up, and that turns into a fictional story. And in that fictional story, I have the writers from the past as characters in a present-day scenario. And then really the Honor in Concord is about honoring the self. And that's really part of transcendentalism, and that belief in relying on your own ability to connect to divine truth within you. And so in Honor in Concord, it's really a story about learning to trust your own beliefs and your own instincts and that connection, to let that guide you. And so it plays out in the historic locations in Concord. It's I think it's again, it's fun because I move back and forth between my story and the fictional story. So from chapter to chapter, you go back and forth. And then within the fictional story, windows open up on their lives in the past in Concord. So I have studied the literary history of Concord for years, so I was able to create in the vignettes some scenes that are really based on actual events in their lives. So it was fun to do.
Oh, that's
and I think
fabulous.
both of these books, the goal, I think, from Thoreau's perspective, and really mine, is that these books are meant to be uplifting, and I think they what I want to say there, they give just a sense of validation for ourselves, I think they're very positive, uplifting books, and that's kind of what I was going for. So, and I know that's what he was going for.
I think people are trying to get back to a simpler time. They're trying to, go green. They're trying to do things to a simpler life, because I think we've all realized you can't multitask forever. You're going to burn yourself out.
Yeah.
And
what's
I think
it all
this
about?
is right. And I think this is a very interesting book for people of any age, but particularly this time when we're looking for simplicity. That always struck me, and now I feel like I've met him in spirit through you. And I'm delighted. I'm absolutely delighted to see your connection, and it's absolutely beautiful. So both books are going to be on my bucket list, and I hope everyone will. Are you going to do do you do book signings? Are you promoting anywhere?
I do.
Gonna,
things slow down a little bit in the summer here. I've been doing a lot of blog radio stuff, and I did some signings up in New Hampshire recently, and I don't have anything to. It's on the schedule right now, but people could check the Concord Writer website on the events page. I'm always constantly updating that, so there'll be new events coming up in the fall. So. Well,
that is beautiful. I don't want to keep you because we still have a few callers that are hanging on for some readings, and I don't want to expose you to that.
Okay.
So
okay.
I just want to say what a pleasure it has been to meet you, even by voice. I feel a connection.
Yeah.
And I hope we speak again soon, and I wish you so much luck with both your books and all your endeavors. You're a fascinating individual.
Thank you so much. Can I just read this one little thing? It's been on my website for years. I think it's really important for people to hear. It's something that came to me in the midst of the channeling one day. I credit myself for this. It wasn't like channeled stuff. This was more like something that came from me. So it says, I believe that if you pause for 5 minutes each day, close your eyes, and allow yourself to look within, you will find your truest self. And it is in that recognition that you will find your greatest joy. Open your hearts and minds to the possibilities, because that spirit within you is the you that will never end. Your life is yesterday, today, and every tomorrow. All who ever were, still are, and always will be.
Oh.
That's my message for everybody.
Oh, thank you so much. That is so beautiful. Cathryn is gorgeous. Thank you so much.
You're welcome.
As soon as you said just pause for 5 minutes a day, I was like, she's got me. And, I just have to say thank you for that, and our listeners will really appreciate that. Thank you for joining us tonight.
Okay. You're very welcome. Thanks for having me.
Thank you. Good luck to you.
Okay. Thanks very much. Okay, bye-bye.
You're welcome. Hi, callers. Thank you for waiting. Isn't that interesting? Cathryn McIntyre. She's a fascinating individual. Our first caller is area code 480. Are you there? Thank you for waiting.
Hi, my name is Keisha. I'm calling from Arizona.
Hi, Keisha. How are you?
Okay. Can I get a general reading?
A general reading of, let's see.
Start out with love.
Okay, let me ask a love question. Do you have a lover?
No.
Okay.
No lover.
All right, Keisha. What's October mean for you, hon?
October, nothing at the moment.
Okay. Have we spoken before? Because you feel familiar to me. I don't mean that in a.
I don't remember you, but I'm not trying to say that we never talked. We probably have, but I just don't remember.
Okay. Love. I feel. You know what I get about you? I get some family things about you.
Yeah.
Some family things going on. It's kind of blocking. I'm like love. So when I say love, this one comes up.
Yep.
And I have a gentleman in spirit here who is talking about family Do you have an older gentleman, grandfather kind of feeling, or uncle, something like that? Not dad in particular.
No.
Could be dad, but do you have a grandfather in spirit or dad?
Both of them, yeah.
Oh, both of them. Okay, maybe that's why I'm a little confused here. Let me see what they have to say. Lovely people. Excuse me. I have to clear my throat because the gentleman, he's what is he trying to say to me? He's trying to use I feel like he's trying to use my voice box. I think that's your grandfather, and he's talking about the month of October, and he's talking about, pardon me, that was your father talking about the month of October, and your grandfather is talking about family. And I feel like you unfortunately are like the pillar. Would that be true of the family? Like it's fallen to you now?
Yeah, and I don't even have my stuff together because they've been blocking me forever, and
yeah.
And now I'm old, everybody else old, and guess who they're, the person they was blocking, guess who they leaning on hard now? The person
right.
And I just feel like, well, what am I supposed to do about it? You guys are the one that you severely, retarded whatever progress I'm supposed to have in my life at this point. And now that everybody need help. See, that's why that's a lesson. Message, don't go around trying to...
Yeah, don't know.
Don't go around trying to mess people up because you don't know when you need that person for whatever, at whatever point in your life. And then at that point, they can't even help you because, you actively, not just sat back passively, actively try to destroy somebody. And now they can't even help you out when you need it. So, Okay,
well, I get that. I kind of feel, there's a toxicity here. He's kind of telling me, the grandfather, and he's saying to me, you need to stick up for yourself. If everybody's leaning on you, you need to take care of yourself. Your father is talking about, because of a lot of situations, you really haven't given a chance, gotten a fair chance at romance. You're never too old, he says. You're never too old. You are a stunning woman. You are very strong. I don't know how you will move on from this, but I would build as much of a life for yourself and cut some ties, and I think that's what needs to be done here. As far as love, I want to get into October, November, December, okay? There is someone for you, so don't, push, I'm always somebody, I've been told that too. It may never happen because I may not want it. I'll be like, oh, yeah, I want somebody. Then when it comes down to it, I'm like, no, I don't.
No.
So,
I don't even want to deal with it at that point.
I know.
Yeah, that's what I'm looking at.
I feel like
there's
more people that you can associate with rather than this mess that your family has created. So don't be afraid to sidestep that, okay? That's about as much as I get, but I'll tell you what, your grandfather and your father are both on your side, if that makes you feel better. And I have a single rose here for you from your dad. I don't know if that means anything to you, a rose or the name Rose, but he presents a red rose in bud to you. Many things are to unfold for you, okay? So please don't take all this family stuff too hard. I feel like if your father could be here, I kind of want to smack a brother or somebody in the back of the head, like if they were a kid and they mouthed off, in church or something, you'd whack them, Today you'd probably be arrested, but that's the way it was. You didn't act up. So I have that feeling. A lot of support for you, honey.
Okay. Thank you so much.
All right.
God bless
You're
you.
welcome, dear.
Yes, ma'am.
Good luck to you.
Bye.
Our next caller is area code 203. Are you still there, please? Hello. It's 203 there. Maybe not. Oop, they're typing. My producer's typing. Let's see. Oh, excuse me. I had the wrong number. Area code 347. Don't you love live radio where everything happens? Hi.
Hi. Thank you for taking my call.
Oh, thank you for holding on. How are you?
Good. My name is Malvina. My question is regarding career. Do you see me staying in the same location, or do you see me moving on to something else?
career. Now, I don't know if it's because of your name, Marina, that I'm thinking of like a marina for boats, or
Malvina.
Oh, Novia. Okay, then thank God for straightening me out.
Malvina.
Malvina. Okay. All right. I still have water. Do you live near water?
A little bit, and then there's water right outside of my location of where I work.
Okay. The reason I'm saying that is it's sort of I have always lived near water somehow. Yeah, I always end up next to water, either a stream, a river. Every place I've lived has some kind of. Here in Sarasota, I'm by a pond. I didn't even know it was here when I looked at the house. And I'm always by water somehow, or the beach or something. I feel the same with you. I feel it's a very cleansing thing and a very energizing thing. As far as job, I feel as if you're ready to throw in the towel on something.
Yeah.
Okay. So are you looking for something new in career, totally new?
No, same career, just something else. Definitely would love to move on from where I am.
Okay. And what is it that you do, dear?
I teach.
Oh, you teach. Is that correct?
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
But it's not high school, right?
No, little kids, the tiny ones.
Okay. I almost feel like middle school, high school. I feel there's a certificate here that you may need to do, but I do feel moving on. The other thing is also, I get the word college, so I don't know if that means college courses. So we'd be interested in teaching college courses, or you want to go back to college.
I'd love to get my PhD, but it's not that easy.
What, to teach at college?
No, to get your PhD. I mean, it's just finding the time and the money.
Oh, right, yes. Oh, I totally agree. But you have thought about it, because that's what I was getting. Okay.
Yes.
I have a couple of ladies in spirit here. Would you be able to identify? I'm getting, she's telling me a grandma, and I also feel like there's another lady, like an aunt or a friend here as well. Somebody's sister, mom's sister, grandma's sister.
It would be my mom.
Okay. It would be your mom.
Yeah.
Okay. And so grandma as well?
Yes.
Okay. You know what they say? They're very proud of everything that you've accomplished. And, like, if you want to keep going, you will find a way to do this. Yeah. I almost feel like I don't want to keep badgering this. I feel like a change of scenery would do you good. But I don't know if that's practical. But I do feel there are a couple of offers around you, job-wise.
Okay.
So that is up to you. I would explore everything. A friend of mine retired, and she was still looking for a place to live. She threw caution to the wind. She moved about 5 times. I don't recommend that, but she would go online and look at places where she could buy a trailer. She had limited funds of what she could buy with her money, and she didn't care where she went. She was looking for something new, and she really did. I mean, she moved about 5 places: New Mexico, Arizona, all kinds of places. Up north, she was in Ocala, Florida. I kind of feel like with you, I don't want to throw caution to the wind that bad. I do maybe want to move and see what's around. I would look at what's around on the internet. That's kind of the feeling that I get. So I want to talk about either a camellia flower, a white flower that is also a name. I think it's camellia. So this is being presented to you from the other side. Okay. Not carnation, but no, I don't think it's carnation. It's a bigger flower.
It might be a carnation because it's one of my favorites, and it was my grandma's favorite.
Oh, okay. To me, it looks bigger than that, I guess, because she stuck it in my face. I was thinking carnation's a little bit smaller, but, okay. I'll give you that then. So I want to give you that to let you know. It's sort of like a trophy, like you've done this, all right? We have a connection. I know what's going on, she's saying. You will find the right place. There are more situations out there that really want you. Okay. So if you're kind of discouraged with this, I feel it's more a management problem. Like it's not the kids, it's not the subjects, it's the way they are tying your hands or the budgeting or something dumb.
Definitely, I need to make more. It's a lot of financial issues. It's mismanagement. Right. I definitely feel I need to move on to be happy.
Is there a town with a B, like Bedford or Bell?
I live in Brooklyn.
Oh, you live in Brooklyn?
Yes.
Oh, okay. Is there anything around there? Then you have a great opportunities there because you have more choices.
Yes,
there's got to be more schools.
Yes, I gave out a ton of resumes, and I hope that I wish that I would have found something new already, but nobody has called yet.
Okay. I know, and I'm also being shown like a St. Christopher medal here, or a fire department emblem, or something like that. Would that be, or police, or something? Like a gold badge, or a St. Christopher is one of the saints for them. There's another one which I can't think of, but anyway, I'm being presented by these two ladies. I don't know why they're showing me that. But what she's saying is, I think that you need to be referred in. Once people meet you, seeing a resume, and if they don't have job openings and nobody's moving, it doesn't do a whole lot. But when you go for an interview, you're going to knock them out. So we got to get you in the door. So see if you can make friends with or contact people, like on social media or something, and say, hey, you got any openings over there, or phone calls, or see if you can network this one, because I think you're going to have to get like a friend of a friend is going to have to secure that.
Okay.
All right. So over and above, you know what I'm saying? Call in all your tickets. Call in your marks, because you've helped people.
I've been trying.
Okay.
Yeah.
It's going to happen. It may not happen till like April, May. So we're talking 2020. So it's not that long. It's less than a year. So let's see what we can do. But your grandmother and your mother are praying for you, and they showed this medal, and I thought maybe it was a badge, but I'm still seeing those three things. Okay, so I have like a medal. It's gold, and it's on a gold chain, and it looks like a St. Christopher to me. I could be wrong. It's Saint somebody.
I mean, my necklaces that I wear are both of their necklaces.
Okay. Are they gold?
Yeah.
Okay. Also, is there anybody? I think are you in a romance right now?
No.
Perfect. I feel like either police or fire department.
Oh.
Okay. So I think maybe that's what she's giving me, and I'm just misinterpreting things. So I just want to say, you've waited a long time, hon, for some significant things to come, but it is going to come, and I would be shameless about getting these interviews. You got to promote yourself, you really have to be shameless. I'm not very good at it either. But I feel this is in your grandmother's saying, get some gumption, girl. I don't know if she would be like that, but I feel like, that kind of feeling. I feel like, you got to do this. Because once people meet you, they're going to be very impressed with you, with your education and your abilities.
Thank you.
Okay, so keep trying. A roundabout, if there's another way, you're playing everything straight, how about calling up, or how about calling up some friends? You got any opportunities there? Look at teaching a class at adult school, or so you have so many things in your portfolio that you're not touching. Okay? So think outside the box. And I've always been told whatever we need is right inside of us. So don't forget that. Right. Okay?
All right. Thank you so much.
You're welcome, dear. Have a good day.
You too.
Okay, I have a caller on area code 256. Are you there? Oh, I'm running out of paper. Are you there, 256? Maybe not. Maybe they hung up. Let's see what my producer has for me. I thank everybody for calling in and being so patient. I had the wrong number. 216. And by the way, last minute ditch effort. If you're on hold and you want to speak, you got to press 1. I forgot to say that at the beginning of the show. Area code 216. Are you there? Are you there?
Yeah.
Hi, how are you? I guess I lost everybody. So sorry to keep you waiting. How are you doing tonight?
I'm doing good.
What's your question?
My question is, if I could just get a general reading, whatever spirit wants is most important.
What's your name?
Shilpan.
Can you spell it?
Silsan.
Okay. Let me see. I feel like an older couple in spirit for you. I have a set of grandparents in spirit for you. Would that make sense to you?
Yeah.
I have a gentleman, the grandparent, I feel had dark hair at one time with some white in it, some attractive white. He looks attractive to me. Would that make sense to you?
Yes.
Okay, good. The lady, I feel like I could, what was the word they were giving me? Yeah, I'm going to ask him to send me that word again. I feel I'm quite an accomplished cook if I am your grandmother. I feel like I'm quite accomplished, like there's a recipe book or there's a recipe or something she talks about.
Yeah.
And she's very neat about how she does things. Did she wear pin curls in her hair? Because she's showing me like doing somebody's hair with like pin curls and the bobby pins. You remember that?
I didn't spend that much time with her, but my mom tells me that she went to culinary school and she was a really good cook.
Oh, okay, good. I think maybe she's talking about doing her hair or your hair. In any event, she said she was a very good cook and she was very precise. So they make fun of me in spirit when they're really good cooks because I'm a good cook, but I'm kind of a messy cook and I'm kind of don't use a recipe kind of cook. So but I'm very interested in like French cooking and stuff like that. And you have to be very precise and you have to be detailed. So that's what they're reminding me. Like, you know, I'm like French cooking on a budget or something, you know, or just like sort of like the Galloping Gourmet used to be, used to throw stuff in the pot. That's kind of how I am. But your grandmother was very precise about everything that she did. And everything came out not only very tasty, but beautiful as well. And your grandfather is nodding yes. So the advice that I get from them for you for this year, now we're talking about 2020 coming up. Oh, I know what it was. They were showing me hopscotch for some reason. So as a child, I don't know if you did that, but they're showing me hopscotch drawn in chalk on the sidewalk or at a playground. Going back to when you were little. Do you have a sister as well?
Yes, I have two
younger sisters. Oh, okay. So I guess they're mentioning that you have other sisters. I want to say hello to all of them. And I also want to tell you, 2020 is a better year. This feels a little rocky right now as far as career. Would that be correct for you?
Yes.
Okay. This is better. You're going to reinvent yourself. I'm being shown an outfit from your grandmother for you. It's like a slim skirt and heels. I don't know why she is showing me that, but I feel, do you wear that, or does that look good on you?
No, but I've just been, like, recently interested in fashion and cooking. I don't know.
Okay. So she's showing me this, and I think this is something new. She says you need to dress the part. So whatever you're going for, her advice is dress the part, okay?
Okay.
And I feel like you have some knowledge here, some prior either college or some kind of education, or you're very smart. That's what she's telling me. So apply yourself, and if something, what's in January? Are you going back to school, or are you looking at something in January 2020?
Thinking of going back to school in January.
Yay, we got it. Okay, nailed it. Fabulous. This is the best thing you can do for yourself. You nailed it. That's it. Perfect. Your life is going to change. Okay? So enjoy what you're doing. If you don't have a romance, that's going to come with the package. She's talking about career. Think career, and you will be dressing the part. Okay? So I don't know what that means. And I feel a little bit like maybe money on the side, it's still a job or some kind of income coming in. There's still something good. But she loves shoes is kind of what she's talking about, or you love shoes. She's showing me boxes of shoes. So hopefully that means that might be abundance for you. You know, we all spend our money in different ways. What can I say? But I feel 2020 is a much better year for you. Okay?
Okay, thank you.
Good luck to you, dear. I think I have one more caller that I've been making wait. Area code 520. Are you there, please? Whoops, they may have hung up. We lost some people due to they hung up. That's okay. We lost some people because we had an extensive interview with a special guest, and I didn't want to. I enjoyed Cathryn McIntyre so much. So I will warn you ahead of time. Next week, we have Joan Carey as a guest. This is news to my producer, too. I have to send her this. Joan Carey is from New York. She lives in Connecticut right now, but she is a New Yorker, and like myself. And we met. She was traveling down here in Sarasota, Florida, and she appeared at the Sarasota Center of Light, did some classes. She's a very interesting lady. She does a lot of readings all over the place, big expos. She's very quirky, very funny, and works from the heart. I can definitely tell you. I did a healing class with her, and everyone, there was a small class, but everyone benefited from it, including myself. And I have to say she comes directly from the heart. And my producer is saying, spell her name, which is Carra, Joan Carey. She is based out of New York, or she lives in Connecticut, but her fame is from New York. She travels the Northeast. She was down here for a visit, and we met, and she was delightful. So she's going to be our guest, and I'm sure she's going to take calls because she's used to it. That's what she does. She loves her readings, from what I understand. I did not get to book one with her. I was her coordinator for her events here in Sarasota. So hopefully I'll get one, too. I think you would look forward to calling in when we are doing calls for psychic work. And if you have a question, I'm sure that Joan Carey will be able to help you, and possibly myself. My website is carolancarey.com, CarolanCarey. I'm the Psychic Medium of Sarasota, SRQ, as we refer to it. And if you would like to check out my website, please do. If you'd like to send me an email, you can do that on there. You can also send it to psychicflowradio@gmail.com. Any suggestions, more reading nights, less reading nights, more guests, less guests, whatever you think, different guests, please let me know. We are delighted. I got an email about how far Goldilocks Productions 3, which is what I am under. That is Tiffany Michelle White is the producer. She has several fantastic shows on Blog Talk, iHeart, Spreaker, all over. And we are reaching people in the United States, but also France, the UK, Africa, quite different places. I was shocked by when I saw the statistics. So I want to say hello to all of those listeners out there. Thank you so much for tuning in and listening to us. I don't know if you're listening to me, but you're listening to Goldilocks Productions 3, so we are happy about that. We have a really great lineup of different shows, of psychic, angel readers, healers, everybody, everything that you could possibly want to know about. So please check out my website. Send me an email if there's anybody you would like to see here on the show. I am delighted to be here this evening, and I wish you a wonderful week. Don't forget about Joan Cara next week, and I hope you have a great evening. Thank you for your patience, and we'll talk to you next week. Bye-bye now.